The 6 billion is the number of active SIM cards, and lots of people have more than one SIM card. So in terms of unique users, there are 3.4 billion. And what I think that really shows is that while there's massive ubiquity of mobile phones across the world, it's an incredibly accessible tool for people that they have in their pockets, there is still a lot of space for growth.
Ben, do you remember your first phone? I mean, you're not 40, I imagine, are you? But do you remember your first phone, and how different was it from the one you have now?
Yeah, I got my first phone in '99, I think, and it was a lovely Ericsson brick-like device with this wonderful coloured cover that you could snap on and off. And it just felt like a luxury to me to be able to call my parents from my university bedroom rather than the public payphone.
Yeah,
so I remember
you were lucky as a student having a mobile phone. I remember my first job on Fleet Street, carrying literally a battery around with one of those things there, you know, which lasted for about four or 5 hours. But it's interesting, isn't it, that, you know, the idea of using a phone just to communicate and speak to somebody now really is secondary to what we use our phones for now. Ben?
Yeah, so the company that I co-founded, SwiftKey, we're all about helping people to type. And, you know, I think we realised that from 2007-8 onwards, people were going to be using their devices for so much text-based communication. And this was really going to change the way people communicate. And I think that's right. It's evolved from a talking device to a lifestyle device, really.
And Amy, it's not just lifestyle, it's used for election monitoring and things. I think you've been involved, haven't you, in Africa in particular, where people are using mobile phones much more because the infrastructure isn't there in terms of landlines.
That's right. It's not just about communicating for business or for social reasons, but in my work I see increasingly the way that people use mobile for social change, accessing information which is vital to their life. Maybe that might be healthcare information or market price information for small-scale farmers. But the case you mentioned, election monitoring, is a fantastic way of making faster paper, where election observers can really, in near real time, transmit immediate reports on what they're witnessing. And we've seen that be used particularly in Nigeria and in the recent Kenyan elections as well.
But Ben, where's it all going to go from here, do you think? I mean, because in 40 years we've moved so far, but they are now just mobile computers, aren't they? I mean, they're the smartphones. Where's it going to go from there?
So I love this stat that I think 60% of phone owners check their phone within 15 seconds of waking up. And I think what
is that for the time, or is that for emails?
I think that's probably for Facebook and, you know, Twitter and the gamut of social mobile technology. I think what we're already seeing is that these devices are becoming sort of connected to us at the hip, you know, and I think that trend will definitely continue. The thing that's interesting is what form will these devices take in the future. So if you look at the Google Glass project, for instance, this is the evolution from a holdable device to a wearable device. So that may or may not take off, but you know, those are some of the interesting questions for me.
Is it good for us, though? I mean, that's the other thing. I mean, we've lost touch, haven't we, with just a slower pace of life in such a short period of time, Amy?
I take your point, but I do think that mobile phones are really changing the way that people access information, which is so vital for their lives.
But are there downsides as well?
I think that we have to be very careful about data integrity and people's privacy when using mobile phones, and particularly when we're storing personal information about themselves. And yes, sometimes it's interesting that you could Facebook somebody but not necessarily speak to them when you're on the bus. But I do think that mobile is bringing people closer together and really opening up opportunities for accessing information that otherwise we wouldn't.
Ben, just a final thought, just in a few seconds. Downsides for you as well, or not?
I think it's all about making sure we foster real relationships as well as utilising this technology. So all upside if that's what we want to make it.